Hello guys and welcome back to another Sims 4 room build. Today we're doing sort of a formal front living room, a feature that I don't include often in my Sims builds, but I love the look of in theory. In my personal home, in like my real life meat space home, technically there is a space because of the add-ons that you could consider a formal front living space. That is not at all how we use it, and it does not make sense for the style of living that we use, but the idea of like a formal front living room is kind of fun. It's something I wanted to explore. Please excuse the weird tones and the awkward breaks. I am still unfortunately pretty sick. I have talked to my doctor, don't worry about it, we're all good. But in order to continue to get videos out on schedule, I don't have the backlog because of some of the stuff that happened earlier in the year. I haven't been able to build it back up. So we're just doing it live, and in this case, we're doing it sick. But please excuse the clip tone. It's not anger or frustration. It's just trying not to cough all up in your ears. This room was built entirely because I wanted to make a room around the big piano. I wanted you to walk in and be like, wow, that's a gorgeous grand piano. And I wanted to build something that doesn't fit into a lot of my builds. A lot of my builds are very compact because, to be honest with you, that's a pretty great way to play in The Sims. If your house gets super sprawling, it's really easy to lose them, and it's really easy for them to get frustrated because they can't get to places within a reasonable amount of time. But I like to build fancy rooms occasionally too, to just have to place down what I want to mansion. Honestly, this room made me really want to do another historic build. I haven't done one in forever. In fact, I don't think I've done one since starting this new job, which is not a metric y'all probably care about, but it's the metric by which I measure things. I've been at my current job just a little over 3 years now, which means it's definitely time for a new historic build. This build was definitely a little cursed too, because I had multiple new bugs show up in this build because this build spanned over the course of a couple updates because I haven't had a lot of time to build. But the biggest bugs were, one, I can't access any of the builds on a lot after I've entered build mode and then gone back to live mode. Doesn't matter if I restart the game, doesn't matter if I change Sims, doesn't matter if I go to manage worlds. So by building on a lot, I am at this moment functionally cursing it to not work, which is very weird, and I'm afraid that means this world, the save that I'm in, is probably toast. But I'm trying to finish up some of the speed builds that are in progress in it before I just bail. But it's very weird because I can access the build in build mode, but the minute I switch to live mode, it acts like I'm not on the lot even though I'm on the lot. It's very weird. The second bug is that I will occasionally be doing something and I will not have mouse or keyboard access anymore. And I've been having issues for a while, basically since Format came out, I think, where my keyboard will occasionally stop working with The Sims specifically. I don't have this problem pretty much anywhere else in the game or on my computer, just in The Sims. But now it'll do this thing where it'll stop accepting mouse input, and then it will slowly start deleting everything on the lot, and then it'll crash. It's a pretty good bug. If you try to save, it will hang. I tried to save and I left it sitting there for about an hour and it still hadn't saved. It's a pretty rough bug, I'm not gonna lie. Having said that, it's a pretty impressive bug from a development standpoint because I think every developer has that story or two where they've completely broken the product. Like, I, in fact, literally just a couple weeks ago had a moment where I completely broke the live product and had to go and be like, help! So I don't hold any dev like to frustration because of these bugs or anything. It's an impressive bug. Like, it's an impressive issue to be consistently hitting that didn't come out in testing. It makes me wonder what I do different playing than they do different testing. It's an impressive bug. Anyways, I was quite excited about how the shelving turned out around the fireplace, which is where you'll see most of the bugs hitting. It was clobbered by the bugs, but I think it came out looking really warm and cozy, and I think it looks very custom and built in, and I really like that the decor is there, but it's not wild, you know? It's not like out of control. I love the combo of the plants and the tchotchkes. I think the lamps were really adding some warmth. I'm back in my lamp era. I've always been a fan of lamplight in real life. I've said this, I think, the last 4 videos. But I am in my lamp era in The Sims. I'm at the point where if I can get rid of the ceiling light or change the ceiling light out for something different, I will. The only problem with that is it looks really great on my screen, and then I upload it to YouTube and I'm like, this is the darkest video I've ever seen. I don't really know why that happens. I'm not educated enough in video and audio to understand why YouTube sometimes just cringes a video, but that happens, you know? But either way, my Sims gotta be cozy, and so I do put a lot of lamps in here, a lot of older looking lamps. I don't put 4 lamps on the shelving overall, but for most of the build they are there because I was trying to block out slots, because it just makes it easier for decorating. But I love the look of the 2 matching lamps on the big built-ins, and I loved the 2 standing lamps behind the other little cozy areas in the room, because I stick a chess table and a reading area in kind of the corners to make the room more multifunctional. Gives you lots of skill building. You have chess skill building, you have piano skill building, you have bookshelves, which are kind of just multifaceted, right? You can read a book in almost anything and grow skills if you're not already maxed out. And there's lots of reading options in the room, lots of bookshelves to access. Between the lamps and the couches, I really started leaning into the blue accents, and I really started playing around with blue and yellow, which is apparently my favorite color combination in The Sims right now, because I've done this a bunch. But the room ended up getting a really sunny, warm, happy vibe, which was really cool juxtaposed against the storm that was happening outside the windows for the entire build. And in fact, I left it storming for the screenshot because I thought it was a pretty cool show of how bright the room was despite the effects outside. There's lots of plants in this room. You could decide they're fake or real because the Sims don't have to take care of them, so it's up to you to decide which suits your gameplay style better, but it should be no surprise to anyone that I managed to sneak my beloved pothos in. This build was really fun decor-wise because I found so many swatches that I had either completely forgotten about or just didn't know they existed. I have a couple of urns in the build. We're gonna pretend they're not grandma, that maybe they're not urns, they're just pretty, because there's like a weird amount of urns in this game, and I didn't realize it. I knew there was one, and I do use it occasionally because it's just a pretty vase, but there's like a couple of urns, and I was surprised. So, you know, maybe just ignore that one, or like maybe write some lore about who it is. Looking at this build now, though, I'm really wondering overall, like, I'm kind of poking through it in the game, why didn't I add candles, y'all? Candles would have really elevated this. This would have been really cool. So your homework with this build, if you download it, make sure to add candles and then send me the screenshots. I bet you the candles make such a huge difference. Even with my candle debacle, I still had so much fun decorating with different pots and plants and things I usually don't use because they don't fit the style or the vibe of the room. One vase near the tall bookcases in the back near the little reading space, that vase is gorgeous, and those swatches are gorgeous, and I don't recall ever seeing that. I don't know where it came from. I should really go back and look and like get its story, because it is a gorgeous vase, and I can't believe I've never seen it, and I've definitely never seen some of those swatches, and it's the prettiest thing. The prettiest thing. Because I stuck multiple little spaces for existing in the room, and they are all like a little askew or on a different wonk, rugs ended up being quite the challenge, and I'm not the world's happiest with some of the rugs, but I think they come together okay, and I think it's fairly realistic to have rugs that maybe are close but not quite in a home, because rugs are expensive, and sometimes the perfect rug is just not worth taking a second mortgage out. Or sometimes the perfect rug just doesn't exist because you didn't design with a rug in mind. So the rugs ended up being a big old challenge, which was interesting. And of course, those love seats needed love. They needed a lot of care and attention, so they got the pillow treatment, which is just my go-to. I love putting pillows on those couches, and it makes those love seats actually look usable, because otherwise they look really hard. They look super uncomfy. They look like you'd have to sit very proper in them. But adding the pillows made it look like, all right, you could curl up on this couch. It's not gonna be like great for napping, but like it's there. You could pop your feet up and be comfy. with a fancy lighting, the like a little bit more vintage lighting in the final moments too. Thought it would be fun, added more warm tones to the room. Been really kind of into that lately, been trying to explore different kinds of lighting a lot, and I think it added something to the room. Finally, in the screenshots, you'll notice that I added some fake walls in the openings because we have cased openings on 2 of the walls to enter the room. But cased openings mean it just looks to the outside when you're in screenshot mode or in tab mode, if you will. And I didn't really want that, so I went ahead and added some fake walls and just added some photos. Those won't be there in the downloaded build because those cased openings will theoretically lead to other rooms in your home. Alright guys, that's it for me. I think I'm gonna go have a lie down now, but I hope you guys are having a great day and you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you. I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world a better place just by being you. Go out and enjoy it. Be kind. Continue to kick tail. I will see you in whatever video comes next. Hopefully in the future I am feeling better and have my backlog back. We'll see. Wish me luck. Anyways, y'all, I